What's up, guys? Today I'm out in the community of West Blockton in Bibb County, Alabama. I'm out here on a fact-finding mission today. I'm starting at this old graveyard. I've kind of gone through the graveyard already. Found that this is the oldest one that I've come across so far. I did find some graves down in the woods and some other graves over here with no stones. So I'm here just kind of checking out everything. I've not really discovered that much of the ghost town parts of West Blockton or of Old Blockton is really what I'm looking for. I know a little bit about West Blockton, but Blockton is what I'm wanting to find out about. I am wanting to find a West Blockton straight-sided Coca-Cola or a Hutchison Coke, because they're very rare. This is our smallest Coca-Cola bottling company in Alabama, was in West Blockton. So I'm going to hit a few places today. This is really a kind of a thrown together day. I had plans to be in the creek today, but it rained all night long, and so I've decided that I'm going to hold off on the creek until it's not so much water in the creeks. So I'm going to be doing some land searching today, really just kind of finding new places to go and dig and get a lay of the land in West Blockton. And I'm going to head back toward Marvel here in a little bit and do a little looking around in Marvel, neighboring community. So let me get up here. I think there's more graves up over the top. It's what the GPS looked like anyway. So let me get up here and see what else I find. So this is Lick Cemetery. This is an old Italian cemetery. And most of the graves out here are in Italian. This one's in English. 1901. This one's in Italian. Most of all of these graves over here are in Italian. We've got a plaque here memorializing all these unmarked graves. Kind of a sad little graveyard here, but still just cared for a lot better than some of the others I've found. Arthur Colombini, we get to see his face here. 1935, that's cool. This is not cool though. Gone to be an Angel. 1936, she was 2 years old. Those are the saddest ones. But these old graveyards are full of them. So I'm not really here just to look at the graveyard. I'm gonna get into the woods locally here and see what else we can find, looking for trash and old home sites. A little insulator, probably an electric fence insulator if I'm not mistaken. Some type of dishware. Another little piece of glass. So something was around in this area. Got a deer staring me down right over there. Doubt you can see it, but it's on that dirt road right over there. Now he's turning. Big buck. So it is hunting season, and that's why I'm in my orange. And we've got the town of West Blockton over here. You can see some houses. Got our cell phone towers. Didn't used to have that here. That's good. But we have some definite glass here. Some different colors. A lot of glass. Have no way of knowing the age on this glass. Haven't found anything that dates it yet. So it could be fairly new. Like, yeah, there's a twist top. And there's a can pop. Which this place started in early 1800s, but it didn't finish until 50s. So a lot of this trash can be 50s and newer. Not really seeing any signs of houses over here, although I have seen, this is the first brick piece that I've found. A little piece of concrete and a little piece of glass. So we do have signs of remnants, but all this has been picked through so heavy over here that I didn't really plan on finding anything here anyway. I just wanted to put feet on the ground over here and take a look at it all. back over to the cemetery where I parked the first time, and I saw some trash on the ground from a distance. This is not an old Coke. Return for deposits. I forget when they quit doing the deposits, but I don't have one of these, so I'm gonna add it to my collection. I've made my way up into the woods where I wanted to look around a little, and sure enough, I found a dump. It's a little newer than I was hoping. Looks like 80s, based on the trash I'm seeing. So I'm gonna keep digging around a little bit and make sure there's nothing else over here where I had been wanting to look at. I've discovered a newer model Pepsi, kind of like the other Coke. It's not worth anything. It's not a collector, but I don't have it in my collection. So Pepsi is a little bit harder of a bottle to collect, from what I understand. It wasn't as popular early on, so there's less of it. So I'm going to do a Pepsi and a Coke collection. Really, I'm doing all sodas, doesn't matter. So, but Pepsi and Coke, I don't mind getting newer stuff, especially it's embossed a little bit. So, but now I am on the hunt for home sites. I don't have a lot of information on the original location of Blockton. I do know that it was destroyed by a flood, so I assume that means that it was near the creek here. So I'm going to do a little time up and down this creek. Like I said, it rained all night, so the creek is up. So that's why I'm not really planning on trying to spend a lot of time in the creek. I'm just kind of getting an idea of what's around here for later. Right away, I see something in the creek up there. A metal structure, like maybe the train crossed here. Let me go check it out. Looks like it was a railroad. There's the abutment there. We've got supports here, cut off. Supports there are cut off. And another abutment up there. So part of the old railroad here. I'm finding almost zero trash. This is very easy to get to, and kind of the first part of the creek you get to. So I'm sure many people have walked through here looking like I am. So I didn't really plan on finding anything right here, but I'll keep my eyes open, you know. But I'm sure I'm gonna have to get much deeper than this to find anything good. This is really the first sign of old trash I've seen. A piece of dish, maybe a cup. So I'm gonna push up through there. It's kind of, you got to kind of pick where you cross at. This little creek is shallow enough, but the sides are so steep, you're kind of stuck in it once you get in it. So I found a little spot here to cross and get up and keep going. I've come back across the railroad line here. You can see the old cross ties. Old drum lid. I've come to another crossing. This is possibly part of the abutment. And out here in the water, I've got more piers for bridge to get down there to it. Struggling to get out there in the creek. Right over there is where I want to get a shot of. And I don't think you can see it from here, but that is where the railroad went there. Here's the other side of the abutment. And up there is part of the tailings pile. One of the tailings piles. Just sharp drop off there. They must have had some type of a conveyor system here to pile it up. But I'm going to work my way back up creek and try and get across this bigger creek. There's no way down here to cross it. It's just too up. My boots are too short. So I'm going to get across the creek and work down the other side. This side of the creek runs out here and is really hard to pass. So I'm going to try and take the rail line back and use the road to cross the creek. Here we have some of the old train trestle. It was destroyed and moved up the line a little ways. I'm seeing bits and pieces of it scattered along the way. So I'm on the other side of the creek now, and I'm finding a decent amount of floatable trash. I believe we are probably in the floodplain still here. And so I found my first brick. I also see up this ditch, there's a pipe. Looks like a little road crosses, so I'm gonna go up there and check that out. So here's the old pipe. I see something up here. That looks like railroad. So let's walk this little roadway a little bit and see if it's a railroad or a roadway. So I think it was a railway. I think this was the main line leaving out of the coke ovens. Went straight that way. The L&N Mineral Railroad passed through the coke ovens and then went on over to across the Cahaba River and to the other coal mines. I've made my way back to that crossing that I couldn't see from across the river. I was up in that thick stuff over there and couldn't get down here to it. But now I can see there's some old plates there. I don't see any spikes here. This would have been the spur line off the main line over to the other coal mines and to the coke oven, and just a separate line from the main line. But this is the same line that crossed over there earlier that I saw. I've come to an opening where the railroad has been cleared. Really pretty through here though. I wonder what the wires are for here. This is a beautiful section of rock here. Well, I've gone pretty far. I've covered a good bit of distance down this creek, and I hadn't found any home sites. But I have come across a coal mine. This one is flooded. That one's pretty small. Looks like there's several of them. This one goes almost straight down. I've gone about 2 miles from the truck, and I think I've run out of coal mine debris down there. I'm sure there's more farther, but the bank gets really steep, and not really seeing any kind of signs of anything out here. There's no concrete left from tipple houses or anything like that. We do have the black mountains of coal straight across the creek from the mine, so it probably had a wooden structure built there that moved the coal over to the tram line or something. But these could have been some of the earliest of the mines they had here, and were not the more successful later mines. They had, like I said, 10 underground mines here, so I don't know which number this was, but some of them started really early, early as 1890 and before. So these could have been some of those mines. And thinking about the flood of 1916, that could have been part of what got flooded, is that mine. It was probably not 10 foot above the creek flood line right now. And you can imagine in this valley like this creek's going to rise 10 feet easy. So it could have been one of the parts of the flood of 1916. I always like to check under old trees, possible arrowheads or other debris. Walking back a different way, and I've come across a little tram line here. I don't know if you can tell it. You can see how the bank goes there. Goes straight that way. So something to check out in the future here. Here is a very large chunk of concrete all by itself over here. Nothing else out here. Quite a big pedestal there. I decided I would pick up one of the plates, and was right here and found this jar. And it is a ball mason. So these are semi-collectible. I will keep this. So I'm almost back to the truck, and I saw a little bit of trash over here laying around, so I decided to come check it out. And I found a section of old track. It's got these, a different style of plate holder on there than we have now. It's similar. It really only grabs one side. It kind of rests on the other. But we've also got, whatever this thing is. Comment if you know what this is. I was thinking it was like where two tracks joined, but it doesn't appear to move. It appears to be fixed. So maybe it was a crossing or something. I'm not sure. So let me know if you know what that is. I believe this is the remains of that first trussle I found. Got a lot of it here. These are the upright supports, probably leading over to the actual bridge itself, because the bridge was a steel frame. A lot of it here though. Another big pile over there. Pretty good bit of trash over here. Doesn't look too old. Here is a big pile of debris. More of it down here. Man, look. I am on the line itself right there. I think that is one of the old cross ties in the ground. And this is where they've just pushed them all up. I walked a little farther. There's some more track right there, I just realized. Another piece of track right there. And like 4 more piles of these round poles. Another pile there of some round poles and some cross ties. Just a large amount of cross tie debris here. Must have been quite a big trussle across here. Might be both of these trussles, the other train down there as well. But there's a bent piece of track. Not finding any old trash. This thing must have been destroyed in the 70s, because all of my trash is coming up 70s. Word High Life, I believe. A couple of jars, nothing really mason. Don't see any sodas that aren't twist top. As I was leaving Blockton, I saw this other little creek that I wanted to look at. I've been wanting to look at it for a while, and since I'm looking at creeks, this one is not flowing as hard, so I put on the polarized glasses and I'm gonna check this thing out a little bit. I see a largemouth bottle here, just a screw top beer probably, something newer. Everything looks newer. Got plastic floatables and cans. I'm not sure what's up this creek. I'm pretty sure it's mining area though. It's getting thick. Do have a lot of trash over in that area. I think I'll swing by there and work my way around this thick spot. Well, it is a dump, but not the kind of dump we want. It's a modern dump. Bunch of garbage. No artifacts here. Walking along this little road here, and it's obviously an old blacktop road, asphalt. But look right over here. I don't know what that hand stacked wall is, but we're about to find out. Looks like it's a retaining wall. Got them on this side too. Look up there. What's going on right here? That is cool. Here is an old pot. Also, more of those retaining walls. Look right there. Look up there. It goes all the way across there on the top. Another one there. More down here. I'm gonna work the bottom first to see what's down here. Man, that would be nice. Looks tough to get through there. I'll have to find my way by. Walked a little farther and found some more retaining walls and a power line. Also appears to be a house on top of the hill, so I'm not going to talk much more, but you see the retaining walls going up that hill. Your average house wouldn't have had that. I'm wondering what building this was. So it looks like some type of a well or just a cistern. I think I found an outhouse. Is that what that is? Let me know in the comments. Here is another cistern. Listerine. It's very heartbreaking to have all this trash and none of it be old. Like another water cistern. So I found a foundation here right by the creek. Somebody's been digging. You got a piece of foundation there. It's got an opening, like a doorway in the basement. You got a corner. The wall was crumbling there. I thought it looked like a fireplace. It comes around, another big opening, and two big pillars. Decent amount of brick laying around. Could have been a fireplace, but we are right on the creek, so I may have found the part of Blockton that got flooded. Across the creek there. Let me get over there. So directly across the creek from that foundation, there's a pretty large wall here. It goes way down there, comes down here. It's about 10 feet tall here. A really big tree growing out of it there. So there are retaining walls along the creek on both sides here. I think I found another coal mine. I've got concrete structures here. We've got a concrete wall there, concrete foundation here, there, several little piers. I believe the entrance would have been right there under where they dumped all that gob. It's hard to say for sure. It's been covered up, but looks like right there would have been where it was. Could have been here, but I'm pretty sure I found another mine. So I've walked this little creek a good ways up to a point where it splits. This is going up another valley here and continuing up that valley there, but I've gone a pretty good bit past anything that looked like coal mining. Everything out here just looks natural. So not too far back there was an end of a tram line. I'll get back there and show it to you. So I think this is the end of the line for the tram. Here's got rocks that have never been covered with dirt, and then it just ends right here. There was some rocks over here So I kept going a ways just to make sure that the tram line didn't keep going too, but it ran out of possibilities. I think this was just where the tram line would be able to go past the mine and get all the cars down there to load them. So you've got an obvious tram line there, and then you've got rocks piled out where they never got covered up. So I believe somewhere right in here was the end of the line for you. Walking back, got down in the creek just to get a better eye on the bottles, and here's a retaining wall lining the creek, and the tram line is right above that. So as far as you can see down through there, this is all retaining wall. A lot of rocks got stacked down here. Something tells me that those Italians in the graveyard earlier had something to do with all this. They do a lot of stacking. I've gotten back down to where this building foundation was, and I found a telephone pole here in the woods. And so I'm not sure if it's 1941 or 1930 or 1907, but I'm back to where the foundation was here. It's a Coca-Cola. I don't recognize this. Huh. Well, I have found a Coke. It's a little bit oblong. I don't know if it got hot. Let me know what this is. Is this collectible? I'm keeping it. So I set out today looking for old Blockton that was destroyed by flood. And I did a lot of walking and I found a lot of cool stuff. But I'm pretty sure that this is what I set out to find. Is this area I'm in right now, where there's structures right on the creek. That mine would have been easily flooded that I found. Whole bunch of brick right here, like a chimney fell in. So I think I was successful in finding what I was looking for. So here is the other side of that wall, and more brick out in here, enough to make a good chimney. A couple up on top. They're not embossed and they're not stamped, but chimneys weren't usually stamped. That'd be just the firebox. Piece of the original wood possibly up here. So I feel like today was a success. I am tired. I got to get myself out of these woods. Now I got a Pepsi crown top. Looks like it would have been part of a chimney. There, buddy. So looks like part of a chimney and a fire pipe there, and a salamander, little teapot. And a broken Phillips. I thought I had a whole Phillips milk and magnesia. That would have been cool. I've never found one. What is that? Thought it was a lid, but there's no threads on it. Found another newer Pepsi here. Also found another telephone pole with some more insulators. That was broken. Couple of whole insulators here. I think this is another outhouse. I think I found 2 outhouse foundations here. And just kind of digging around in here a little bit. Looks like a metal spike of some kind here. So I would love to be able to get in there and dig. that'll be another day. It's getting close to sunset and I am whooped. So I've found this on the way in. I'm not sure if I videoed it or not, but I'm pretty sure this was another outhouse, but it had a pipe. So not sure if this was a rudimentary septic tank or what, but three outhouses real close together here. Tells me this was a little village. I wonder if these things on the hills, I wonder if they had little houses on the side of the hills, because there's foundations all up the hillside, and doesn't make any sense to do that much work for nothing. But the fact that they're putting 3 outhouses right by the creek is probably why they were catching the rainwater in those cisterns, because they couldn't drink the creek water anymore, which is pretty nasty. I cut up this other little valley here where I started, right where I first started seeing the retaining walls, and just decided I'd push my way up through here before I left. And looks like the base of a outhouse, and then right there looks like probably where it went. So there's probably another outhouse sitting right there. This had to have been a miner's little spot here with the toilet right down there. Because look at this. That's miner's work. A miner keeping his yard from collapsing on him. I would bet money on it that a miner put that in there. And I think a little cabin was right here. Well, I'm almost back to the truck. Had a real good day. Can't wait to go back through this video and remember everything I've seen. But that is the end for today, and I'll get back out in the woods in another week and make some more videos. See y'all next time. Your cat's out.